Hello and welcome to the free CCNA CyberOps instructor training brought to you by the Institute of Coding and the Open University Cisco Academy Support Center. My name's Kevin Large and I'll be your instructor for this video. This is a supplementary video where we'll look at installing Windows 10 and Windows Server 2016 in Virtualbox. First of all, I'll show you where we get the ISO images and then we'll do an install. In fact, we'll do two installs side by side to save some time. Okay, so where do we get the Virtualbox evaluation installation media? Straight from Microsoft. So what we'll do is we'll open up a browser window. So I've just gone to Google Chrome, and in here we will type in Windows evaluation. And the very first link brings up Microsoft Evaluation Center. We'll click on the Microsoft Evaluation Center. I'll just say I don't want any breaking news at the moment. We'll go to the search. And in the search, first of all, we'll type in Windows 10. Now the one we're looking for is second one down, where it says Windows 10 Enterprise Evaluation, and this is a 90-day evaluation version of the Windows 10 Enterprise. We can click on there, and we wish to save this installation media as an ISO file. That's ISO Enterprise, not the long-term support version, just the ISO Enterprise. So make sure you've got that clicked and click on continue. And in here you can pretty much type in what you like, because this is an evaluation version after all. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tap in Joe McLean. The company, let's see, who can we use as a company for old Joe McLean? As I say, you could just make this up. It's only an evaluation version that you're going to be using. So I'll say World Intelligence Network. Company size, well, just me dad, perhaps a couple of others. Job title, Super Spy. We don't have Super Spy on there, so in that case I will put Other IT Professional. For an email address, again, any information you like, because we're not going to be doing anything serious with this other than evaluating it and using it for teaching, and we'll only be able to use it for 90 days, so there is no serial number or anything like that. So j90@win.com, and for a phone number, well, I'm in the UK, so I better start it with 44. Okay. So once we've put in some information, would you like information or tips about Microsoft products? Not at the moment. We can hit continue, and here we can select whether we want a 32-bit operating system or a 64-bit operating system. Definitely 64-bit for modern systems, and our installation language, well, the language for the download. So I'm going to go for English Great Britain, so we get the Great Britain download installation media, and then you would just hit download. Now I'm not going to download it because I've already downloaded it. It's quite a big download and it takes a fair amount of time. If you wish to pull the server, exactly the same situation. Windows evaluation, go to the evaluation center, search, tap in the search bar Windows 2016, and for Windows 2016 we have a 180-day evaluation version. Go for the ISO image download, so as we can point Virtualbox or VMware directly at the ISO image, and then continue. And then again it's the same story. Joe, etc, etc, etc. Okay, there will only be a 64-bit version of Windows 2016 Server because it doesn't come in any other versions. I will go through this just to show you all of the steps. Job title, other IT professional, work email, J90 at win.com, work telephone number, all the 90s. Okay, if you don't know what World Intelligence Network is, then you haven't had such an interesting childhood as Andrew and I, no doubt. Continue, select a language, English, and hit download. Notice there was no selection for 32 or 64-bit because they're all 64 bits. That's an even bigger download. That's about 6.5 gigabytes, so you can understand why I'm not going to be downloading those. Once they're downloaded, however, it's a matter, it's a relatively straightforward matter to bring up Oracle Virtualbox. So here we have Oracle Virtualbox, and we will create a couple of new virtual machines. So the first one I'm going to call Win10A. It will guess it's Microsoft Windows from the name, in fact, here. Microsoft Windows 10 64-bit, so we're good to go. It should automatically guess those if you put a name like Win10A in there. If it doesn't, just click on Microsoft Windows and select the 64-bit version of Windows 10, which is the ISO file that you downloaded. Next. I'll leave the random access memory setting to 2048-bit. We'll create a virtual hard disk image. We'll leave it as a VDI image, a VirtualBox disk image. Dynamically allocated, 50 gig, no problem at all. And then there's just a few little tweaks we need to make. I'm going to go to System, and I'll get rid of the floppy disk drive because we don't really need a floppy disk drive. And while it's still highlighted, I'll just drop that right down the bottom there, keep it well out of the way. We'll just have the optical disk and the hard disk. That's good. We'll go to the network and we'll select bridge networking, and I'll bridge it to my Ethernet adapter, which is connected to the internet. So that's good to go. Is there anything else we need to do? Oh, of course, I need to go to storage. Currently we've got the hard drive that we created on the SATA side, but for the optical disk side we have an empty optical disk drive. So all I'm going to do on here is choose a virtual optical disk. I'll go to where I've downloaded those images. That's the first one for Windows 10, great big long file name, and I'll open that, and we're good to go. Okay, so I'll now start that machine up by clicking on the start button, and we're good to go. So here is Windows 10 about to start. Open that virtual machine up a little bit. We've got English United Kingdom, because I downloaded the United Kingdom installation media. Next, install now. I'll just get a little bit into this installation and then we'll start the installation for the Windows Server 2016. So this will give you a Windows client and a Windows Server to play with. I accept the license. Next. Now this is important. You want to do the custom installation, the advanced, because we're not doing an upgrade of an existing Windows operating system. We're actually putting a fresh one on. So custom installation advanced. 50 gig hard drive we created earlier in VirtualBox settings, and away it goes. Now that'll take a little while, so while that's doing that we'll start the server installation. So I'll click on new. I'll type W2016A, Windows Server 2016A. Actually I might call it WS, Windows Server 2016A. Microsoft Windows connected on there. We've got Windows 7 it's guessing, which is wrong, so I will now change that to Windows 2016, 64-bit only. Okay, so that's Windows Server 2016, 64-bit only. Next. I'll boost the memory on this one I think a little bit, so we'll put 4096 meg of RAM, so 4 gig of RAM. Obviously this is quite a useful computer because there's 32 gig of RAM in the system. It's also got a 6-core processor and 2 fast SATA hard drives, so it makes installation of Virtualbox images very straightforward and very fast. I'll take the default size for the virtual hard drive of 50 gigabytes. Dynamically allocated it will be the next option. So VDI dynamically allocated, and we shall create that hard drive. I'll do the same thing. I'll go into System, knock off the floppy disk drive, drop it down to the bottom, go to Network. I won't use Network Address Translation or NAT. I will use Bridged Adapter and bridge it to my real Ethernet adapter that connects me to the internet, which on my Linux machine is EN01. And then I will go to Storage. We see a virtual hard drive, WS2016A VDI. I will click on the optical drive and select the Windows Server 2016 download straight off the evaluation site. There you go, 6.49 gig. It's pretty close with a guess at 6.5. Okay, and then we'll start that one up. Oops, that's not the start button, that's the new button. That's the start button. Okay. Just bring that into the window. There we go. So this server, bottom left hand window, and the Windows 10 image should be, there we go, almost there now. So that's handy. That's 93% getting files ready for installation. So we shall select language to install for the server. It's basically English United States only. However, time and currency format I can select English UK or wherever you happen to be. So that will give me a keyboard input for United Kingdom. And we'll start that install. Now it's interesting because the server installs a lot quicker. Now the version of server that you want to download, if I go back to the downloads page just for a moment, let's see if it'll let me do this. I think it probably will. Yep, there we go. One thing I didn't show you was, let's go on to download. No, hold on. Oh no, it's okay. Just download that image. Download that image. I'm thinking ahead of myself, I'm afraid there. That tends to happen when you're doing these things. What I wanted to show you was this next window on the Windows Server. As it works its way through the installation, and we've only just started installation, you'll notice it's got to a window where it now says Windows Setup, and it allows you to choose which version of the server you wish to install. There's a standard with a graphical user interface, there's a data center, and there's a data center with a graphical user interface. I recommend you probably go for the data center with a graphical user interface. It gives you pretty much everything, and you also get a GUI to play with as well. Unless you're really into PowerShell, you definitely want to have a GUI to play with. I accept the license terms. Again, custom installation, not an upgrade. Very careful to do that. There's a virtual hard drive. And off we go, copying files. Now this is much quicker, believe it or not, than the Windows 10 client. The Windows 10 client had a big head start, but it's quite possible this might even finish first. So the Windows 10 client is now getting ready. It will go through a few somewhat tedious steps if all you want to do is have a little play with Windows, but you will need to work your way through them in order to get the full install. So now we've got Windows Server, left bottom side, currently copying files. already quarter of the way through. We've got the Windows client, Windows 10, top right side. Just going to move that up out the way a little bit further. There we go. And that is currently getting ready. And my processor utilization on this Linux machine will at the moment be going quite hard. In fact, let's have a little look. I'm going to go into a command prompt and I'm going to type in htop, which is pretty much like Task Manager on a Windows machine. And let's see what it's doing to my processors. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 processors. In reality it's a 6-core processor, but because it's using hyperthreading, Intel's hyperthreading, and we've got 6 physical cores and 6 virtual cores. And you can see that the CPU load balancing is actually working surprisingly well. Occasionally you'll see one particular core ramp up to 100% or close to 100%, but most of the time there's some pretty symmetrical load balancing across those 12 cores. Memory utilization, actually only using 9.23 gig of my 32 gig. And of course remember I did put quite a lot of memory on the server. So I think I've got 2 gig on the Windows 10 client, but I've actually got 4 gig on the server. Okay, let's look back and see how the installation's going. Okay, the Windows server is still copying files, it's 61% in. The Windows client, the Windows 10 client, is just rebooted. Now we are 16 minutes into this video, and I would say we're probably about 11 or 12 minutes into the actual installation, though this is a pretty fast computer to do the installation on. So 11 to 12 minutes in, the Windows 10 is getting very close to the point where it's fully installed. There are a few more things to do. The Windows 2016 server, though it looks like it's further behind, will very rapidly catch up and will probably finish first. So by using the Windows 10 and the Windows 2016 evaluation downloads that we can access for free from the Windows evaluation website, this allows us as instructors and of course their students to install virtual machines and really get their heads around how Windows clients and Windows servers work. Okay, Windows 2016 is now 95% through its file installation. The Windows 10 client is getting very, very close now. Aha, here we go. Windows 10 client, is this region correct? United Kingdom. Yes, it is, in my case. Of course, it will have worked that out from the installation media that you downloaded, the actual locale, and also the previous settings that you've put in during the installation. Is the keyboard correct? United Kingdom, yes. Right, the server's about to restart. This is quite cool, installing them both at the same time like this. Do I want to add a second keyboard? No, so I'll skip that. Okay, we are 18 minutes into the video. I would say we are probably 14-15 minutes or so into the Windows 10 installation. The Windows server is just rebooted and is very rapidly catching up now with the Windows 10 client. It is probably already surpassed where the Windows 10 client is overall. Okay, server's just restarted again. The client seems to go very, very slowly in this last section. We're now 19 minutes in, and now we've got to sign in. Now, this is where you can pretty much just tap in whatever you like at least I hope this will work. So gibberish@gibberish.com. Let's see what that says. Your organisation doesn't allow you to set up Windows this way. That's because we cannot effectively sign in with a legitimate 365 account, but it will allow us, because this is an evaluation copy, to set up Windows with a local account. So by tapping in that rubbish, we get the set up Windows with a local account. We can just click on that. We tap in a name, so I'll tap in Kevin. Tap in a password. I'll tap in QWERTY. Wonder whether it'll accept that. QWERTY. Confirm the password. QWERTY. Not a good password from a security perspective using QWERTY. However, handy when you're just doing labs and you want to test things. Security questions. Yes, we do need to do this. So, what was your pet's first name? I'm just going to make this up as I go along. How about Apple? Question number 2. What was your childhood nickname? Apple. And it wasn't my childhood nickname. Where was the city your parents were met? I think you've got the score now. Apple. I can't go wrong as long as I always remember. They're the same 3 things. Okay, let's set the server up. Now for the server, it won't accept a simple password like QWERTY. I will show you. I'll just tap in QWERTY and then re-enter password. It should definitely not accept that. So there's QWERTY, QWERTY, finish. No. Does not meet password complexity requirements. So what we need is an uppercase letter, lowercase letter, and some numbers. So what I'll do is I'll use the bottom row of the keyboard, uppercase M, and then the rest of the digits N, B, V, C, X, Z, lowercase, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me show you. Basically that should meet the complexity requirements, though it is not a good password. I would imagine a good password cracking program could find that very easily. However, it does meet the complexity requirements, and you can see that we are actually up and running on the server. How far are we on the client? Not too far away. Do you want more devices to... No, I don't think we want that. This is just things like Cortana. I don't think we want Cortana to chat to at the moment. Online speech recognition. No, probably not. Learn more. Don't want it actually. Ah, that's right. Don't want it, accept. No. Accept. No. Find my device. It's got some really quite clever features, Windows 10. But obviously for a quick install, most of them I don't really want to play with. Send diagnostic data. Don't use my data to improve language. We're almost there. Ads. Hey, there we go. Okay, so Windows 10 is just about there. Windows Server is already there. And let me show you something on VirtualBox. The server wishes us to hit Control-Alt-Delete in order to unlock. You can't hit Control-Alt-Delete, but what you can do is if you go up to the Input, top menu item, Keyboard, you can insert a Control-Alt-Delete. That's how you bring that up. Okay, there's our administrator. Password was M. The rest of the bottom row of the keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're in. Okay, so there's the server. I knew the server would win. So the server was installed before the client was installed, even though we started the client sometime before the server. So this will allow you to have a full-on Windows 2016 server installation in VirtualBox. We've got the server manager about to pop up. Do you want to allow your PC to be discoverable by other PCs on this network? Yeah, I think so. Okay, and there we go. We've got the server manager up. Everything's good to go. Got PowerShell if we want to play around with PowerShell. and this is a 180-day evaluation version as well, so it gives you a lot of time for your students to learn all about Windows Server and Windows Client operating systems to set them up for a successful future in information technology, networking, systems administration, network security. It's vital to know about the Windows operating systems and the Linux operating systems. Okay, almost there with the client. Hey, the client's here. Okay, searching for a display driver. Yeah, currently we're running on the Virtualbox video adapter setting. What I would do now is I would actually go off and I would install the Virtualbox guest editions, which would give us a much smoother movement of the cursor. The display would be much crisper. We could maximize the display size. But you can see we've got Windows 10 Enterprise Evaluation, license valid for 90 days. Server version will be valid for 180 days. Excellent. There you go. Valid for 180 days. Now, I don't know whether I can do it on here, can I? Let's have a little look. Insert guest edition CD. Could not find guest edition CD. Would you like us to download it? Yes, please. Are you sure you want to download the guest edition CD? Yep, go for it. Doesn't take very long. I'm connected to the internet. I could have left the network card set to NAT, but I prefer to use bridge networking. That way the virtual machine guest shows up as a real system on the network. That's not so good. The network operation failed with the following error. Unknown reason. Okay, thank you very much for that, Windows. Try it one more time. Might have to download it on my host system, my Linux system, and then install it manually across to Windows. It is nicer if you can just download it straight to the guest. Yeah, this sort of thing doesn't happen with Linux. I know I'm a bit biased, I'm a big time Linux user, but yeah, it's a brand new fresh installation, and already we've got an interesting situation going on there. Okay, so there's our Windows 10 ready to go. Let's open up a web browser. Can we actually get out? Yep, we certainly get out, so it's not a problem with the connection to the internet. What I would end up doing now is I'd end up downloading the guest editions on my host machine and then transferring them across to the guest machine and just running them from there. Okay, so that is how you find the Windows evaluation versions of Windows 10 and Windows 2016 Server and install them into Virtualbox. I hope you found that useful as a little bit of supplementary material, and I will be seeing you soon for further chapters of the CCNA CyberOps. Oh, by the way, when you shut down a server, you actually have to tell it why you want to shut it down, but other unplanned or other planned, I just normally leave it at one of those two, and off we go. So thanks very much for watching that. Hope it was useful, and I will see you on our usual slot Monday evenings at 8 o'clock UK time. Have a lovely weekend.